Hello, I'm Scott, the breathing guy. I will train you to locate, generate, activate core key energy in physical activity. This video is meditative walking for stress release, changing one's physical body for emotional release, and spirit development. I call it because of spirit development because we're going to deal with breath. This video is going into the basic breathing pattern and understanding that you need to really enhance your ability to have meditative walking and be so much more dynamic. This is a physical act. It's not passive in any way. You're directing your energy, you're shaping your body, and you're focused on walking in different ways to help you, if you want to say, tone your body, release stress, change emotions if you want, and have a state, I call it a Zen state or a Zen zone state, where if you choose, you can be in a state where there is no abstract, where you totally feel what you're doing in your surroundings. If you don't want it, even that, you could manifest for focus, for dealing with issues in a more calm way, in a more dynamic way. These are all possibilities, but the basic process begins with core breathing, how you breathe. And how you breathe is a reflection of your emotional, physical reality in the moment. So by learning a specific way to breathe, you're changing your normal pattern of sensations physically, your emotions, because breath supports your emotional reality. Understanding this process, so I'm going to give you the beginning ideas and a method to begin to recover your breath like a baby. First off, there's 4 parts to breathing. First part is inhale. Inhale brings energy in. The second part is a pause. This consolidates energy. You're going to use that during that pause period to really move energy around your body. Exhale is the release of energy. Through the breath, you can direct it to your shoulders and make your shoulders soft. You move energy because all stress is stored energy in your body. And if you can focus on it with your mind to direct it out with the breath, you become softer, you become more fluid. And then the 4th part is emptiness. Being empty in a state is a calm state. Being in empty prepares you for the next breath. You realize so many things because you can't be tense when you're in the empty. When you totally exhale, the body is at its softest point. The inhale, you're at your weakest point. Your strongest is in the pause after you inhale because you brought all that in it and you consolidate your strength. And then the releasing process. 2, this breathing method is an offset breathing. There's 2 types of breathing process, meditative and active breathing. This is active breathing video for now. I will do meditative later. Active breathing is where you inhale fast, pause, exhale long. When I say long, I'm talking maybe 20 seconds, a minute while you're walking. That's just a foundation. You can do all types of things like that. But if you can exhale, just even in bed for 20 seconds and then pause for 5 seconds without straining, you're much more softer. You don't have stress that restricts your breathing ability. Stress, by definition, limits your breath range. You can't inhale far, you can't exhale far. It holds tension. With a body tension, your body cannot bring in breath. That's why every meditative program, every relaxing program has breath involved. But understanding each of the 4 parts so you can manipulate those 4 parts while you're walking. Or if you want what I'm doing here, to practice. But the idea right now is to get you to exhale for 20 seconds while you're laying in bed or laying on a floor. Then you're going to do 20-second exhales while you're walking. That's a whole nother physical sensation to do that during walking. So really understanding the value of learning the breathing as a focal point, as a center focal point for your energy and strength to be directed by your mind, by the head. And I use the head because there's so many elements to the head that affects your energy and your stress. And I'll go into that. But if you want to change the stress in your shoulders, your emotional state by reshaping your body, and the idea of spirit, because you got to start with your spirit first. Now, why do I use spirit and breath together? Because the dictionary, I'm using the dictionary, you can look it up. The root word for spirit is breath, aspiria. The focus point of breath, because you're born on an inhale and you will exit this life on an exhale. So the value of the breath. So how you use your breath affects everything in your reality in life. In fact, aging, one of my points of aging, when you're young, your breathing range is this big. You can easily do it. But you hit 30, your breathing range is a little less, and it's not as easy. By 50, your breathing range is less, but it's also harder to do to really expand. And then later on, it gets up. So as your breath range goes down, your endurance goes down. Then as your endurance goes down, your range of motion goes down. So focusing on how well you can create your breath in your torso. It's using the torso. And torso is from here down is the idea. Engaging for range of motion and keep the muscles toned. That's the hard part. So learning to breathe the way I suggest. And the first way of breathing is like a baby. Learning to breathe like a baby again. And that's how that is. If you watch every baby. Inhale, the belly button goes up, and exhale goes down. Now, the power of this form of breathing, weightlifters use it to some degree, of using the belly breathing, is also, if you've been around any babies, they can cry on one yell, one long cry is for a long time. They're like an opera singer in their own right. But look how they do. They inhale, their stomach core tightens up, and then they slowly, with tight core, let it out through the, if you want to say, the crying process, the exhaling out the mouth involved. That's one. So moving this area a specific way I teach is to begin with. There's many other ways, I know, but this is basic. You need to learn this, strengthen yourself. This is to promote physical strength. One. And if you take a look at the way babies breathe, a cry, they're exhaling out the mouth. There's two ways to exhale, and we're going to play with both, out the nose and out the mouth. There's only one way I recommend inhaling is through the nose. Why? Because you can engage all three chambers of the torso. That's chest, diaphragm, and below the diaphragm, below the belly button. Those are three areas. And you have to, how you manipulate those three areas affects, if you want to say, your energy, your sensations, how you're moving involved. So the first exercise we're going to do is how to breathe from the core. And you could lay on the bed or lay on a floor, doesn't matter, but it gets you to move the belly button is the idea. And to exhale, pull the stomach in. Now the first rule, if you've got to understand it, is the hips. Having your hips in a form so that the lower chamber, the first chamber down here below the belly button can be activated. If you have any arch in your back, tips are tilted slightly like this, you cannot activate the below the belly very easily. You can activate the diaphragm and you can activate the chest. But you can't get down here till you have a flat back. So when you're walking, your hips are actually tilted slightly to neutral. In a Pilates term, your hips are tilted to neutral, so you can breathe, use your muscles down here while you're walking.